Well, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. And this is the Fandom Foundry. And this is the podcast where we talk about the best things that made our week great. I am Todd Oxtra, your humble host, joined by, I think I've dubbed you the Norwegian musical podcast empress. And that is Andi B, joining us from Norway. It's a little bit of a 7-hour gap, I believe, but we found a time that works, as I've been a guest on her podcast and her Patreon feed for talking about musical movies and musical experiences. So, Andi, quickly, we're going to do a quick intro because not everybody may be aware of yourself and, the fact that you're coming from Norway. I met you through my old group in the Secret Friends Unite, and you asked me to be on a podcast because I said I'm a big fan of musicals. So with that, Andi, I always ask people for their geek origin story. Some people are bitten by spiders and they get, superpowers. I don't know if you were like hit in the head with a musical instrument and you said, I am going to be the most powerful musical podcaster in the land. So tell us your geek origin story.
When it comes to musicals, I think I'll blame it on having The Lion King and Lady and the Tramp as the two first VHSs ever. So on my podcast, I did an episode about Lion King, actually, we were looking at the 90s. So I had to do that one because I love it so much. And I watched that a ton when I was little. And then I got into doing, kids theater, community theater kind of stuff. And eventually I just started exploring more, like learning more about different shows and listening to some cast albums, but also watching old movies. So, yes.
I had to put
tapes.
the picture of those VHS tapes. They're so iconic for the time. And I think everybody had a collection. I remember my cousins at once, because they had my second cousin's very young. She's like, could you copy these? And I'm like, I don't think that's possible, but let me give it a try. Did not work. But everybody had their copies. And do you still have any of those copies still?
No, I don't think so. There might be some at my parents'.
Or probably worn out, and you hopefully replace them with better copies now.
The funny thing is, I remember where in the movie the VHS was sort of scratched, so the picture we had a little fuzzy and stuff, and I remember where that is in The Lion King because I watched it so much.
And it's probably iconic. It's like, where's that mark? I need that. It's part of my experience with these movies. So in regards to that, what are your other interests beyond obviously being a music fan? You work in Norway. You just told me you're a librarian, which is amazing. Yes. So I'm assuming books are a passion of yours too.
Yes, I also love to read. So since I was a kid, and it's been a little less the last couple of years, but I've sort of gotten back into reading a bit more, which has been wonderful. So yeah. Books too, whether it's sci-fi or I also like either more classic books or just historical novels, because I think that's fun, sort of exploring different eras.
So what's one of your favorites? Is there like a favorite you say, hey, if this is the book that defined me, this would be it?
Define me? I don't know, but it might be a bit of a basic answer, but I love some Jane Austen. Like Pride and Prejudice, Persuasion. Persuasion is very, very good.
Have you seen Bride and Prejudice?
No, I have not.
It's an amazing version. Basically, it's a Indian musical version of Pride and Prejudice, and it's by the woman who directed Bend It Like Beckham. And it's a musical, and it's amazing. And it's taking Pride and Prejudice with that Indian, Bollywood type of feel, but there's I believe it's an American, Mr. Darcy. I think that's who it is. And then he's going to India for a friend's wedding, and that's when you get it. But it's a beautiful movie, great music. The soundtrack is amazing. I think you would get a kick out of it, especially because, the classics get adapted to other ways of telling the story. I mean, the Taming of the...
Yeah, sounds like fun.
So I highly recommend it. It's very fun because I think that would be in your wheelhouse of like a book you enjoy, how they adapt it, and then adding in the musical elements. And Bollywood is always a passion of mine. We have a office in Mumbai that I work with, so I'm always asking, like, what's the next cool Indian cinema I should check out? So, and then typically in that, you get lots of music and dancing and songs, and which I love to pieces. But other than that, books, movies, musicals, anything else that your interest draw you into?
Well, Star Trek, and generally science fiction, but specifically Star Trek I love. And
absolutely.
The funny sort of roundabout way I got into Star Trek is actually linked to Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Because I was an exchange student for a year in the US. I went to junior year at an American high school. And one of my friends there, she introduced me to Doctor Who. And it was Matt Smith's era of Doctor Who.
Oh, great era.
And he's my doctor. So Stephen Moffat was the showrunner. And he also had this other show called Sherlock. I don't know if you heard about that, but that was kind of a big deal back then.
I always Cumberbatch and what's his name?
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. Amazing.
But you hit the nail on the head. I was like, okay, so Stephen Moffat is showrunning this other thing. I want to check that out. That might be cool. And then all of a sudden, here's Benedict Cumberbatch being awesome as Sherlock. And then he's going to be in this Star Trek movie? I like sci-fi, but I haven't checked out Star Trek really. And now he's going to be in this movie. So, maybe I should watch the 2009 movie first. And that's what I did.
That, and Doctor Who is an amazing series. I watched it in the US. We use PBS, which public broadcasting, which is at risk for being defunded. But thankfully, I believe one of the billionaire's ex-wives in the US funded a big part of PBS, which is great. And then, that's a lot of people's first way to see it was on Saturday nights, Doctor Who and all those old doctors. And then I was there when there was a fun fact. There was one doctor who was only in one thing. And that was, I believe, before the reboot, there was a Fox movie with Doctor Who. And I can't remember his name, but it was a really cool thing.
Did you see the Paul McGann movie on broadcast?
Yes, I did. It was on Fox in the US and it was amazing. I'm like, this is so cool. And it was done. That guy didn't come back. And then we've got the amazing reboot with all those doctors that were great. And there's another series that's a companion to Doctor Who, which is very cool. I'm blanking on the name. Torchwood. Torchwood was the name of that series. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of a cool series as well. But Matt Smith, Rory, Amy Pond, great actors that are the companion. Everybody has a favorite companion. There's always battles, favorite doctors, but usually your first doctor is your favorite, but then sometimes it's like
that is kind of how it works. Because yes, obviously David Tennant is amazing, and some of those episodes are so great, but Matt is still my doctor.
Yeah. David Tennant's mine, but I loved Matt because it was such a unique take, and he was more of the goofy doctor, where David was kind of like the sad doctor at times, but he did have some. And then they went really old, and then they went female, and then there's been black doctors, and so I'm curious to see where they do next. I know they've been looking for kind of a shakeup, and Disney, I believe, is no longer involved with it. So now I think it's going to go back to probably basics with the BBC, which is probably the right way to do it.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping. The Doctor, you know what? He regenerates, and so does his series. Maybe he needs a rest and come back. And I know because that's a tremendous run. Nothing. There's beyond Star Trek and Doctor Who are kind of like the longest lasting science fiction series.
Absolutely, yeah.
And James Bond. It's kind of those are the three that have lasted so long, and they keep finding ways to rejuvenate themselves. So I love that you found Star Trek through a different channel. I love how people can appreciate all of these series, and that's awesome. Well, Andy,
started
I
with the
think
2009 movie, and then I went back and watched TOS, and it took a little while to grow on me. But I was like, you know what? This is very old, but there's some good stuff in here. And then I sort of got used to it, and then also it is just very good. Like even after all these years, it's the 60th anniversary, and some of those episodes are just genuinely good television.
I agree. Every generation of Star Trek has their standouts. They have their that wasn't great. Let's forget that. Yeah. But even now that we're getting with the new series we've had with Star Trek over the last, I think it's 8 years since they really came back on Paramount Plus, and every series I think has had standout moments and elements and storylines and characters. And I don't know what's going to happen with Star Trek now because of Paramount Plus and all the craziness. But
we'll see.
One question: how do you get is Paramount Plus a thing in Norway, or is it through a different provider? Or
I don't think we have Paramount Plus. I'm pretty sure most of the new Star Trek has been on Sky Showtime, and I think Sky is British. And then distribution. It's weird. It's so needlessly complicated, I feel.
Exactly. Even in Canada, like I have several friends that live in Canada, and they get something. They have a service called Crave, where that's where they get their like HBO, and they get this, and it's like, so we never know. And there's certain things in Canada my wife wants to watch, but we can't because there's a lot of Canadian baking shows she loves, and it's like, oh, we're not going to let you watch that, Americans. I'm like, oh, it's so fun though. So, well, I'm excited to talk about this week. Thank you for sharing your past, and now we're going to talk about our present. And so I always like to start the episode with a news story that made your day or made you happy, or just made you feel good versus all the other things that are going on in the world. So please share what news story made your week happier.
Yes. Well, this is going to need a little bit of setup and backstory. That's not very happy, but ultimately it is a good story. So this summer, it's going to be 15 years since there was a terrorist attack on the government offices in Oslo. And earlier this week, on Monday, I'm pretty sure, they had an opening ceremony. So the Prime Minister and 2,000 plus employees are now moving back into the new rebuilt building. So that was just very nice. So, and Americans are very isolated. We don't get a lot of, international news, even though we should. That's why we typically watch other things that tell us what's going on in the world. So in regards to the terrorist attack, can you just remind us what that was and the context? So back in 2011, there was this right-wing extremist guy, and he planted a bomb close to where the government works because he didn't like the political party that was in power. And then he used that basically as a distraction to go to where the youth wing of that political party have their summer camp, and he murdered a bunch of teenagers.
Oh my God. Because
they were, the future of that political party that he didn't agree with. But he got arrested, and he's in jail, and he's probably going to be there for the rest of his life. But like I said, dark backstory. But now they haven't just sort of repaired it. They've rebuilt, and there's some new parts of it as well. And it's a positive thing that now they're sort of coming back home after all of that.
Wow, that's amazing. This is part of the new building that I'm sharing.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing that a tragedy bringing people back together and showing strength and just saying we will not let horrible things keep us back. How old were you when this happened?
I was 17.
Okay. So probably hit home because of people your age were directly impacted
Yes. And I didn't know it at the time because this was actually right before I was going to leave for my exchange year. But when I came back the next year and went back to school with all my old classmates, a couple of them had actually been there. And I didn't know that at the time.
Wow. Because, yeah, I'm assuming, 15 years, depending on how you got your news, internet availability in America, because of the size of our country at times, our infrastructure is not great because we're very rural at times. So, man, that had to be something really. Did your parents, did they notify you to let you know it happened, or did they decide to not share that?
The weird thing about it was everyone was watching the news because of what happened in Oslo. And then we learned about what was happening at the summer camp.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, a lot of people here remember that very well if they're old enough. So it impacted the whole country pretty deeply.
Absolutely.
And also, that building was where the Prime Minister's office was. That's, basically 10 Downing Street. So now that he can sort of move back and be in the middle of the city instead of somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. And it's that has to be great to see something come back. And that's.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad we've got a great outcome 15 years later. And, hopefully all of the families of the victims can find some, I guess, justice, or at least, feeling like, hey, they are remembered. And thank you for sharing. That's sometimes the most sad things bring about good things, but it's hard to find those at times.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been nearly 15 years at this point. So, things have definitely moved on. And also because the guy who did it, he's been locked up basically since then. So there's been a chance to move on. And just this, I feel, was a good reminder of how much we value our democracy and our sort of government and that whole rule of law and our institutions, basically.
And you love when an institution works correctly and it helps people and does the right things versus doing horrible things, which a lot of us are feeling in this country right now, that sometimes we feel like we're powerless against a institution but it's kind of neat that we have a pope right now that's actually hopefully showing people that maybe not all Americans are horrible and evil. So there's always two. There's America that people see through our government, and there's America that people hopefully see through our individual relationships and actually what we try to do to be better. So moving on to something that made me very happy, and this is a lighter note, but we'll balance out. Mine was CinemaCon. So CinemaCon is a huge convention, and it's really not open to anybody but the studios and the theaters. And this is basically talking about the state of the movie industry and the large movies that are coming, hopefully to save box office and keep movie theaters alive, considering, everything's going streaming, and going to a movie is getting harder and harder and more expensive. Fun fact, I was going to see the Super Mario Galaxy movie at our Mall of America, which Mall of America is near where I live. It's huge. But it's a fun place to be. It's a great place for tourists and really enjoy it. But they were going to have this big Mario celebration, people, musicians playing music, and just trivia and all these fun things. And the movie, and Andy, I'm going to give you a little quiz here. How expensive are movies to see in Norway?
This is just very roughly translating it into dollars, but about $10 a ticket.
Okay. So now that we have a baseline, which is good to hear. So that's typically our average ticket too, depending on, unless you see it in the weird, they've added all this new technology where you can see it in IMAX, and you can see it in 3D, or you can see it in, they have something called ScreenX, which is very interesting because, and I'm not sure if this is in Norway yet, but It's basically you normally see just the screen in front of you. Well, now they've had it expanded on the walls where they can show more of it. It's very interesting because it does seem more immersive, but it's not as bright because it's showing on walls versus screen. And that's a new element that they've added so they can make more money. But, it's kind of a neat experience. And I was going to see it at the Mall of America. The Mall of America, I think it's because you're there and it's convenient, so they can charge you more. How much do you think the 3D version of Super Mario Galaxy was, if I'm feeling like it might have been too high?
20?
$30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I said, no, I'm not doing that. So I went and saw it in my local theater for $15. And I'm also a member of the movie club, so I do get a discount. And sometimes it's kind of crazy that people would pay that much to see a movie, but oh, well. But with CinemaCon, they really are excited about all the movies that are coming this summer. I'm excited. And just I'll go through like the highlights and you can tell me if any of these announcements make you interested. The first one is Spaceballs, the new one. We're finally getting a sequel to this parody of all these science fiction films. The first one came out in 1986, I believe. It came out at a very bad time because there were so many other big films at the time. But Rick Moranis is actually coming back to play his role as, Dark Helmet. And I love it's a group of the new and the old. And Mel Brooks, a man from some of his musical movies and his comedies. He's 99 years old and he will be in this movie. And it's amazing. He is so awesome. I love him. And I'm very excited for this movie. Josh Gad, great writer, great performer. He's going to be writing. I believe he's in it as well. So I love that. And then it's also got Louis Pullman, who is Bill Pullman's son, playing a role. Louis Pullman's was Bob in Thunderbolts, and he was also played a Bob in Top Gun Maverick. So glad to see that we're getting multiple generations. And Daphne Zuniga looks great. I mean, Princess Vespa looks great. So glad to have him back. And obviously John Candy has passed. He won't be in the movie, but they'll definitely be. And you know what? Maybe Josh Gad is playing Barth's son. Who knows? We'll see how that works out.
Just quickly,
then we go down to Spider-Man.
I love him in Little Shop of Horrors as Seymour. He's wonderful in that movie. So
Great movie. I've never seen it on Broadway proper, but yes, I remember that movie when it came out. I loved it to pieces. So fun. Suddenly Seymour. Gotta love it. Audrey.
No, that was my 1 year podcast anniversary episode because I love that movie so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Love that. This is coming out, I believe. I don't like the fact that they don't say dates, but that's okay. Thanks, Gizmodo. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. This is the third movie in that series. It's finally coming out next year, but has signs of life. And I love that series. My son and I and my wife, we all love that series. Dune Part 3. Oh, wow. I was surprised we even got Part 2, and now we're getting Part 3. I'm so excited. This is definitely a movie you see on the screen. It's the amount of people that are going to be in this film now. It's amazing. I love this series to pieces. If you are a science fiction fan, Dune is one of the tenets that's amazing. There was a interesting movie from the 80s by David Lynch. And then there is a really good sci-fi channel had a really cool Dune miniseries called The Children of Dune, which I highly enjoyed. I don't know where you can watch it, but it was like in the 2000s. So another way to see this. So I believe there's going to be a time jump as well in this movie.
I should probably read Dune because I've only seen those two recent movies, but those are very cool.
And they're apparently well adapted. So that's a good thing. And Dennis Villeneuve, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. He's really an interesting director. I mean, made the Blade Runner retake. So he's really got a great view in updating some of that material and just bringing a great cast together too. Great cast. Avengers Doomsday is happening in December, I believe. And they're showing more of it. I'm assuming there will be tons of leaks on this movie, but I am curious if they can capture lightning in a bottle. I don't know if they can. The hardcore MCU fans that kind of went away after Avengers Endgame. There's been a lot of really good Marvel stuff and there's been some okay stuff since then. So, Andy, how are you feeling about the Marvel universe? Is that something you still have an interest in? Or,
I'm fairly confident in saying I've seen every single movie. So, like last year, Thunderbolts, and there were 3. That one.
There was.
And my point is, I really liked that one and one of the others, but I don't remember the name right now.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I really enjoyed it. So I'm trying to remember. So I'll pull up a list of the movies so far. So from 2025, we got, Fantastic Four, First Steps.
Yes, of course. Fantastic Four. That's the one. Yeah.
That was great. And then we got Superman last summer too. And then we had Thunderbolts. So it was a great year for superhero films, even though the box office wasn't that high for it. I thought they were the most fun I had with superheroes in some time.
Those were really solid movies, and I'm just very curious how this whole doomsday thing is going to play out.
It's interesting because they're probably going to pull out some things from the comics, which I've read some of the comics in the past, but I never know. Sometimes they'll do some interesting. Did I think they were going to bring in Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom? I did not. It's kind of a brave pick.
I think that surprised most people.
Yes. Which, if they're going multiversal, then that's fine. I think it's really cool. I just didn't want it to be like a dark Tony Stark. Like, if Iron Man had went different and he went evil, and that's just what he went. So I'm glad they're just making him Victor Von Doom, and why not? Let him play it up, ham it up. I hope he has a ridiculous accent like Victor Von Doom should have, because if your name's Victor Von Doom, you can't just sound like you're from Minnesota like me. I'm not an imposing voice. This is an interesting movie. It's called Whale Fall, and it's about a diver who gets swallowed whole by a whale, kind of like Jonah and the whale. So I'm like, is it just going to be him hanging out? Is it going to be realistic? I mean, everybody's always seen the cartoon, right? Where a cartoon character gets swallowed by a whale. So what do? They create a fire, or they tickle the uvula and he gets spit out, or I mean, I don't know. This is interesting. And it says the footage was intense as hell. Think Jaws, but underwater. Oh, good. So they're not making it comical at all. Very interesting. Disclosure Day. So this is Steven Spielberg going back to science fiction, which he hasn't in a long time. I think War of the Worlds was his last science fiction film. And we don't know much about this film except that something weird is happening. We've got crop circles. We've got people that are being affected. And that's all I know. But I'm glad to see, Steven Spielberg go back to really interesting science fiction.
Yeah, that could be very, very awesome.
Yeah, if he's back in true form. Highlander. This is the reboot coming back with Henry Cavill. He left The Witcher, and then John Wick director Chad Stahelski is directing it. And it says it looked exciting, massive, and very heavy on the neon. And the John Wick films, even if you don't like them, I think everyone would say the action is really interesting. And Henry Cavill, he commits to science fiction. He is a geek. He loved the Witcher books and left because they weren't close enough to the source material. He makes PCs. So he is his nerd cred high. And I love the original movie. That soundtrack by Queen. You had Sean Connery playing a Spaniard, but had a British accent or a Scottish accent, I guess, which made no sense, but sure, why not? Then you had the main character. He is, I remember the actor's name, Christopher Lambert, who's French, trying to do a Scottish accent, which was just like, nobody is working here, guys. Accents were not going very well, but very, very fun.
For Henry Cavill, have you seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with him?
I have not, but I know it was kind of ruined because of Armie Hammer, who had some. But I've wanted to watch it.
He's also there, but it's a very fun movie, seriously good movie.
Oh, that's good to hear, because I'm always looking for those movies I missed. My pile of shame of movies I've wanted to get back to is very tall, but I also play video games, watch movies, TV. So if someone says it's worth watching, I will then move it up on my list even higher. Let's see. Let's move on. Clayface. This is a DC film coming this fall. It's actually going to be a take on the Clayface character. Was his origins. He was an actor, and I believe he was going for experimental plastic surgery to keep younger. And unfortunately, the person who did the surgery on him basically used the substance that was going to be like a filler, but actually mutated him and gave him the ability to change his form, his appearance, but also if he didn't control it, he'd just turn into a blob of clay. And they are going the route of horror theme for this character. James Gunn is going, James Gunn. I believe there's a horror director that is going to be directing this as well. So I think that's an interesting way to bring in a villain. This feels more like the Joker versus something like lighter, and that normally James Gunn has not done. He doesn't do a lot of heavy things at times, but I'm interested to see where it's going. And it's an October release, so perfect time. And then let's see. I'm going to move through these. Resident Evil is getting a film. Andy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the series. I love all of the video games. Really. Not much there, but it's basically about an evil corporation that creates a drug and it ends up mutating people. They take over the city, and it's been very popular. I just played game number 9. It's been around for 25 years. But Zach Kreger is going to be directing this, and Zach Kreger has been this amazing indie horror director from like A24, and the fact that he wants to do an IP title, but he says it will have nothing to do with the stories in the game. So I'm like, brave approach to maybe bring people in that aren't fans of the series, but no, Zach Kreger builds on the scares and brings in crazy experiences. Let's see. Children of Blood and Bone. I believe this is a book adaptation. It's a Gina Prince Blythewood is the writer, and it's a star-studded adaptation of the hit novel. It says it has sort of the aesthetic of Black Panther infused with the magic of Harry Potter and the creatures of Lord of the Rings. I believe this is based on like African mythology and legends.
Interesting.
Yes. So because we have not seen a lot of that, Black Panther was kind of like the first way of showing kind of a futuristic science fiction look at potential within African culture to be different and not looked at beyond more than how we usually view them. This could be very cool. So exciting. Let's see. I'm trying to just go through here really quick. J.J. Abrams is back with his first original film since 8mm or 9mm, I think it was called. And then big cast, and we don't know what it's going to be about, but J.J. Abrams, when he does something, he typically goes big and lots of lens flare. So hopefully it'll be fun. And I'll close it out with The Odyssey. This film keeps getting more and more footage. Apparently they did show the Trojan horse in one of the scenes that was shown here. And Christopher Nolan is just what he put on the screen for all his movies and doing now, mythology and a great story. The cast looks amazing. It looks intense. I'm very excited.
I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. Like, the man does not, spare any expense. He goes for it. He goes big.
And he believes in the power of cinema. He always does IMAX. He always is doing that. Yeah. I remember when I saw The Dark Knight on a real IMAX screen. Oh yeah, he brings out the best in them. And the fact that he even did a Batman movie is crazy, but he's like, I'm going to do it my way, even if it's not what the fans want. But, he brought credibility back to DC and Batman after the interesting movies of the 90s where you had Arnold Schwarzenegger making bad puns about things crumbling like ice. So, yeah, give him credit.
I think in part because there are so many fans of Batman, I'm like,
yes,
nah. He's not
exactly
like I'm good. But yeah, the Nolan Dark Knight movies are interesting.
They are, and it's funny because typically with Batman, you either get an actor who can play a great Bruce Wayne or a Batman. They rarely come together and doing both. And I think a lot of people primarily remember Christian Bale because of his voice. And my favorite part is something that I think a lot of people mock, but I love mocking it too. It's the Tom Hardy's Bane voice. Yes, Batman. I mean, it's memorable and probably not the best way, but I just love it. And I love to bring that voice out every once in a while just to have fun with it. But Tom Hardy, is, a very fun.
Yeah. And Tom Hardy is in this show called Peaky Blinders. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes, my friend is telling me
Cillian Murphy.
Watch this. Yes.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy is the lead in that show, and then Tom Hardy comes in a few episodes as sort of a frenemy gangster, and again, he just wacky character, weird voice, but so entertaining to watch.
I mean, I will tell anyone, Venom's a horrible film. It's a C tier, D tier movie, but I gotta love the fact that Tom Hardy's like, I'm going all in on this really weird accent. I'm going to play it up and like kind of make it a buddy cop movie that his buddy eats people, and it's weird. Those movies are so weird and just dumb, but they make a lot of money, and it's like, and they're like, yeah, sure. And Tom Hardy actually is really involved with those. Like, he helps with the scripts and everything. So I'm like, I guess that's what he wants to do. I salute you, Tom Hardy. Well, very good. That's a little, that's the summer movie kind of like that we can look forward to, or even in the fall. So very excited about. I will be talking about something I'm excited about for the summer movie in the future. But I really want to really quick hit on a game I started playing really quickly. I know, Andy, I don't know if video games are in your wheelhouse. If you play any, you like them?
Not much. No.
All right. Well, I'll make this short and sweet.
I played a lot of Sims when I was younger.
The Sims is such a cool series because it predates so much of what, a lot of people, thought about video games, what they could be. And the fact that you're just like, hey, I'm going to create a house. I'm going to make a pool, put somebody in a pool, but not put any water in it. So they get stuck in a pool, or they're going to talk weird and have that Simlish. And yeah.
Or you can do what I did, which was basically use it as a character creator. Because I remember I spent a lot of time just looking through the outfits and creating my Sims.
Yeah.
Like, not just building the house or having them do stuff, but like, okay, what's the hair going to be? What's the outfit going to be? Like,
and you can have drama and relationships, and you can, they have like those expansions, like, oh, we're adding magic, so you can do this, or we're doing that. And it's amazing that, it's so popular, but it seems like they don't do more with it. It's like lately, it seems like they should be doing more. So it's still popular, but, that's why I think Animal Crossing is big. All these cozy games, people just having life simulators. It's a big thing. And I know my son was into the Sims for a while, but he liked to hack it and get like unlimited money and do all this stuff. So yeah, play how you want. I don't think they care. Just play how you want. Just buy the game and play how you want. Have fun with it. Well, a game I have been playing, it's called Replaced. I'm actually going to talk to my buddy Chris John tonight on his show, 1 Hour, 1 Decision. The show's kind of neat because he picks a game by random on Game Pass, and they play it for 1 hour, and then they make a decision on it, which a lot of games are really long. So only an hour in, it'd be like watching a movie. I'm going to watch the first 15 minutes of this movie. Should I keep watching more? And that's probably a bad way to put it, but I love that they're doing this. So the game's called Replaced. And what's cool about this game, it's made by a studio, I believe, in Latvia. But a lot of their employees were Ukrainian. And so they were impacted by the Ukraine war. This game has been on my radar for a while because they essentially take like a very pixelated look and they play with depth of field. They really play around with like realistic looking backgrounds, but pixelated characters. Lighting is very unique, very cyberpunk feel. And it's an interesting game because some of it's side scrolling where you're just trying to avoid like this guy with the flash. The light is basically a sniper that can kill you. So if you don't avoid the light, you'll get hit. There's no spoken dialogue, but essentially it's called Replaced because you are working with an AI, you're employing the AI. Well, unfortunately, something goes wrong and the AI takes over you, and he's trying to help you get your persona back. And the goal is, and somehow he's being, tracked by the cops. We don't know why. So there's a mystery of why he's being tracked. So he's trying to get back to the lab in the city and trying to find out what's going on. But it's kind of neat because it has like this, cyberpunk aesthetic, and you have like this menu where it brings up like almost like a Game Boy, and it's using like tactical like scroll wheels. So the technology is interesting of what they use in this future. And the only abilities you have to fight, you get basically these cops have these batons that are also can become weapons. Like they scroll out to be a baton, or they come back in to be like a handgun. Well, the handgun portion is locked, but you can use the baton. So it's heavy hand-to-hand combat, and the combat is very fun, scrolling back and forth. And the movement is very unique. So you're going through there, you're just trying to find your ways through. It's puzzle solving, like, oh, you need to push this container as you're seeing to help you get to this area you can't reach. So you push it, you jump up. But it's very fun. It's scanning items, finding out about the world, and a lot of quests to, like, this one girl wants to get her arcade up and running, but her mom doesn't want her to do anything. So you have to find parts for the arcade so you can start it up. And then you're trying to get binoculars from her for somebody else because they need lenses, but she won't give them to you until you beat her high score in a video game. So then you play the video game, and it's very weird. So I won't go anymore, but it's really interesting. Like, I mean, I will show you. There's the combat is, I think, well done. Let's see. I'll scroll a little bit here. Okay, but you do run into a guy that helps you out, which is great. He let's see, combat. Okay. I'm getting close to the combat.
It's an interesting art style.
Yeah, it's definitely doing that. They call it like a chunky pixel art style. So so you have these minions you fight, and then this boss guy comes, and he's big, of course, and he's going to hit you. But the movement's very cool and interesting, and they do some interesting effects with lighting and depth of field. So you do feel like you can be in different. You're getting more of a 3D effect, which is cool, but it's definitely a 2D game. And they do allow you to go into and beyond, like with the staircase, which is great. So, yeah, I really am enjoying it so far, but I'm going to be talking more about that. So if you're interested in indie video games doing something a little bit different from a studio that definitely has a different viewpoint on the world, it's great. It's a great game so far. Really enjoying it. It's on Game Pass. It's $20, so it's inexpensive, and it's on everything pretty much. I don't think it's on Switch yet, but it definitely should be. So that is my gaming take of the week. So let's move on to something we both can talk about together equally. And really quickly, I finally finished Wonder Man. That was been our show that's been on Disney Plus. It's been our dinner show, I guess, with my wife. It's half-hour episodes. It's 8 episodes. They just wrapped up season 1. I did get renewed for season 2. I'm like, how are they going to do this? And we finally watched the final episode. I love this to pieces. It's a love letter to actors and the movie making process. It's got an interesting mix with the MCU, with having Trevor Slattery back, which has become just one of those wonderful characters that who knew, from being the Mandarin to then being in Shang-Chi and then being in this, and just Ben Kingsley, I think he's just having a blast. He's like, why not? I'll come back with this weird, wacky character that probably I can say, yeah, a lot of this is about me being an actor, and the fun stories and some of the cameos in this are great. And the fact that Wonder Man is definitely a D-tier character, the way they brought it out from being kind of like that 60s hero in a film series, a lot of people remembered it, or maybe 70s, and just rebooting it. So you also get like the reboot, like who's going to play who, and then you get a character like Simon Williams, who's great. He's got a great family background, and he's also struggling with being an actor and being identified as a soup, because you find out there's a reason why superheroes are not allowed to be an actor or on Hollywood sets. So there's a backstory with that too, which I'm like, oh, why is this such a big deal? So they have a great backstory, which is like, my wife's like, what is this about? And it's like, well, it's telling us why it's like got one of those interstitials which is not related at all to any of the characters, but it gives you that great background in a standalone episode, which I thought was really cool to see. So highly recommend this. It's getting a season 2. I won't go into spoilers if anybody hasn't seen it, but it definitely brings out, I think, something that a lot of the hardcore Wonder Man fans have been wanting to see. And then also for anybody who's not, I think it brings you on a way to love a character that you didn't even know anything about. So I think this is where Marvel used to excel, on bringing characters like nobody had any interest in them, and like they make them love them versus being forced upon us. So have you checked out any of this?
I have not, because like I said, I've been keeping up with the MCU movies, but a lot of the Disney Plus stuff I haven't. But I've heard so many good things about Wonder Man that I'm like, no, I need to check that one out.
The great thing about it is you don't have to have watched any of the MCU to understand it. Obviously, knowing Trevor's backstory, because they do cover it quite a bit, is important. But you could probably just watch like, hey, who is Trevor and why does he matter? Like just look quick and you'd probably find somebody that could tell you all about it, or just watch a quick. I'm a big fan of like recaps because I don't want people to have to get like committed to things or feel like, anybody else like, oh, I have to watch 85 things. I did that with Lost. I watched the first 2 seasons of Lost. I fell off. I heard it got really long in the tooth, really drawn out. And then they realized they needed an ending. So they said, we're ending the show. And so I watched a recap of like the really slow, not great seasons. And then I jumped back in and I loved it. So it was a great way for me to enjoy it again. But yeah, Wonder Man, there it is. Trevor and Simon having madcap, wacky buddy adventures in Hollywood is the best way to put it. And they find their way into the weirdest things, and it's just great.
Yeah.
So, Andy, tell me about yours.
Well, I've been going a little bit retro. So I started rereading some of the Sherlock Holmes stories. And then I was like, I've seen a few of the Jeremy Brett Granada episodes. Because back in the 80s, Granada, which was a production company in the UK, they produced, I think it was from 84 to 94, in that 10-year period, adaptations, some of the most faithful to the original stories from Arthur Conan Doyle that you'll find. And I've been enjoying, I'm on season 2 of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, so I'm starting on the early episodes. And it's just been a lot of fun. Like, Sherlock Holmes is one of the most beloved characters in literature, and those stories are just so entertaining. And Jeremy Brett is fan-freaking-tastic as Sherlock. So
he's like iconic. Yeah, I mean, there's several people you think of that played the role, like Basil Rathbone, obviously from the early, black and white era film, and then you get into different adaptations. There's some really fun ones. There's the Robert Downey Jr. version. There is Young Sherlock Holmes by which is just out now on Amazon, I believe. That series is out. But there's also the movie Young Sherlock Holmes, which I absolutely loved and adored. That was so much fun. Did you see that, Andy?
That it's from the 80s, is it?
It is.
I think I've seen it a whole bunch of years ago when I was also down the Sherlock Holmes rabbit hole.
It's renowned for having the first CG in films ever.
Ooh.
There's a iconic scene where the stained glass window essentially comes out and it turns into this like night.
Right. Yes.
And it was a great film, interesting cast, very fun. And yeah, so it's cool to hear this. And is this on BritBox or how are you watching it?
On YouTube.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that's where I pulled it up.
I'm pretty sure they are on BritBox.
Yeah. My wife has signed up for BritBox because she wants to watch the other something sister.
Bennett's sister?
Yes, she wants to watch that. So it's been delayed because I guess the BBC gets it for 3 months and then it gets put on BritBox, so everybody outside can watch it. So my wife's like, "When is this coming?" It says out there. No, it's out in Britain, but it's not out in the US yet. So May 6th, honey, get ready for it because she's gone big into my wife's father-in-law is from the UK. So she got a lot of British experience when she lived there for about 3 years. So she eats up Downton Abbey. She eats up Bridgerton. She loves that. So she's been getting into it and she loves it. And so more to come. But yeah, I love Sherlock Holmes. The fact that it's, once again, a property that is now public domain. I have a friend, he's British, who I've podcasted before. That's what he does. He writes Sherlock Holmes adaptations. Let me see if I can pull up some of his titles. But if you're interested in that, Andy, I would recommend checking out one of his books because he does a great job with it. And I think he's wrote like 20 so far, and they're very popular.
Cool.
I think the fact that a great literary character. Oh, here it is. I'll share the screen. There's Chris. Then Scandalous Affair. Lots of different takes on Sherlock Holmes, so it's kind of neat to see. And he's wrote some really interesting books. So a good friend, and I need to get him on the podcast. Talk about kind of like how you adapt. My wife asked, like always, when, and you know this too, that, characters go into public domain after so many years. It's the Mickey Mouse law. And she was like, well, who's in public domain these days? I'm like, well, considering now they're making horror films with Winnie the Pooh and all these characters, well, I guess they're in the public domain now.
I think this year, the first couple of Nancy Drew books ended up in the public domain. So,
wow. Nancy Drew, that's a throwback. And then the Hardy Boys, and they had those 70s eras TV shows, which I love to pieces. But yeah. Well, very cool. Let's get into food, Andy.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about this this food, because you put it in quotes, and I'm like, okay, I got to find out what this is.
Well, because I think we do our own sort of version of it. We've adopted and adapted sort of a Tex-Mex thing. So if you want Norwegian tacos, like, sure, you can get the crunchy shell version, but my preferred one that my family and I eat is you take the tortilla. Yes.
Is
and then
this it? Okay, I just pulled. Yes. I put Norwegian style tacos. Reddit brings us up. So you tell me, as she's making this, if it's realistic or how it varies from what you make.
Yes. So guacamole. That, yes, correct. Some onions, some tomatoes. Onions, yep. That's probably chili. Yeah. I don't like it too spicy, but checks out.
All right. Little lime juice. Wonderful.
Ooh, fancy.
And then it's like you've got like your, it's almost like a salsa, I guess. Salsa, kind of like a pico de gallo with your guacamole.
The fun thing is, like, you can do different toppings and you get to pick what you want. So you saw the bowls. Yes.
Okay.
And
large tortillas. Okay.
Yes. The tortillas. So
a little sour cream, I assume?
Yes, sour cream. So salad, the meat, little sour cream, some corn, and you have the little ones all on the table with, cucumber or tomato or whatever you want. And then you just take it on your tortilla and then fold it and then eat.
I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, obviously guacamole, typically people skimp on that because, I think avocados are like $3,000 a piece. So, but this all checks out. It's legit. So, I like the fact though that you've said, hey, we just want to bring all these things together. Although when I looked at the woman when she's wrapping her taco here, I mean, I think she needs to work on like getting a good fit, because it's just going to fall apart in my hands if I did that. So,
but also the thing is, you need to not fill it too much so you can fold it properly.
Yeah, I mean, my son, I remember when we would eat tacos and stuff, I'm like, son, all of your things are falling out of your taco now, and it's like now you just have a plate of like all the toppings. So, but do what you want. But that looks delicious. So, did you make it this week or go have it with your family?
Today, actually.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. I forgot. Oh, yes. It's a 7-hour difference. So you've already had your dinner probably. So, yeah. That looks delicious. And I'm trying to think of anything really exciting I had to eat. Well, okay. This will probably go into my, my exciting things that happened to me this week. So, but love this. Make tacos, delicious. All these healthy ingredients inside there. Looks amazing. So, hey, I'm not a big guacamole fan, but my wife is. So she would I'm like, hey, try Norwegian tacos. We can bring it into Minnesota, make it a thing, because there's that connection with Minnesota, Norway. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm all ready to make it happen. So I celebrated 51 years this week. So birthday was on Thursday. So Friday, well, thank you. I 51 is weird, but I don't feel old. I feel like, hey, I'm still having fun, having a great time. Nothing hurts too much. But this year I'm like, you know what? I wanted to see some live music play. And so I was going to see this band play called GENX Jukebox. And I'm like, well, rather than just me and my wife, let's see if anybody else wants to go. So a bunch of my friends, we showed up to this GENX Jukebox, and at this local bar. Well, it's a bowling alley, fun center, but it also in the back has its really cool concert area. And we had a blast. This band, let me see if I can pull up any of their stuff on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, they're called GENX Jukebox. They cover essentially that 90s to early 2000s area, or like early 90s to early 2000s era of American music, but they do country western music. They do pop music. They do rock music. They do rap. They did Metallica. They did Nirvana. They did Shania Twain. And what made them very fun was the fact that they do costume changes and they play to what they're doing. So the female lead singer would go back and she would change, and depending on what she was doing. So they did Four Non Blondes. So when she came out, she wore like the hat and the different wig. The lead singer, he was hilarious because he did like Metallica with long hair, didn't take a shirt. Then he did a country song where he wore didn't have a lot of clothes on. He had very short shorts and it was like a watermelon crawl or something like that. And my female friends were like, I think something's going to pop out. So he was having a great time. They were having so much fun. We all had a blast. But what that leads me to food is bar food in America is not the healthiest things, but it's very tasty. So I was looking at the menu for things to eat, and they had pizza pops. I'm like, what are pizza pops? Explain. So basically, it's just dough with a lot of cheese, and then you can dip it in marinara. Delicious. Not healthy for you, but they were delicious. So enjoyed that. Tasty. But it was, I mean, I loved it. It was great. Let's see if I can find a good video with them. Let's see here. I think this is a good one, probably. We can bring this up. So here we go. So this is more of a professional video, but that's the lead singer. She's great. And that's the other lead singer. So he was doing AC/DC. So he put on the bad wig, but they do country songs. They perform locally. They have 3 guitarists. A guy who does keyboard. And they just really get in with the crowd. It was so much fun. And then after the show, we went to talk to all the band members. I mentioned that my son is a sophomore in the University of Minnesota music program. He's going to be a music teacher. And they said, well, does he know how to play trumpet? I'm like, yes, that's his main instrument. Well, we'd like to have a trumpet to play a ska song. So maybe my son could get in to play with them. So we're going to be in touch. So yeah, awesome. They were a lot of fun. Only like 10 minutes away from my house, which made it easy. And they are so much fun. I love cover bands. I love seeing them. So, no Abatunes. Obviously, that's going to be more of a 70s and 80s band. I'd have to go check out for that. But I love cover bands. So that was kind of a combo celebration, music and food and drinks, and just great to see everybody there. It was funny because I was asking everybody like, what age group are you from? So we had myself and a friend were Gen X. My wife is also Gen X. Then we had a millennial. And then I think we had a Gen Z. So it was interesting because I'm like, some of these songs are just not going to be in their wheelhouse. But that's okay. It was still entertaining. And even my oldest friend was out there dancing on the dance floor. She got me to dance out there. My wife got me to dance to a couple of songs. And we had a blast. And it felt good. And she's like, hey, we still got it. And we're this age. So something I love to do. Love going to see music. So, Andy, are you a millennial?
Yes, I'd say I'm a millennial. 94.
Oh, yep. You'd be in that wheelhouse because I am a Gen X 75. So, yeah, a little bit different there. But yeah, it was very fun. So that gets me to something in regards to Wildcards. That is a series I've only watched season 1. I need to watch season 2. And then we're coming to an end with the series, which is sad because of what's going on with the creator of these books and things. My wife and I are big fans of Neil Gaiman, but considering what's going on in the world, it's like, how do you balance that with creator and the hijinks and the bad things with the creator? So give me your take on this. So we had, I'll pull up the trailer and
because I've been thinking a lot about it since I love those first 2 seasons so much. And after everything came out, that is just, it's horrible. It's awful. And one thing that helps me want to watch the show again is I'm like, that is his personal life. Sure, it's somewhat connected to what he did professionally, but that's personal stuff. And this also involves a whole bunch of other people. So there is a cloud hanging over this, and not just because of him, but because of this getting cut down due to all of that. This should have been a full third season, but the fact that we're getting a complete wrap-up of everything, that is good. And what I posted on my BlueSky was for David Tennant and Michael Sheen as actors, for those characters that I love, and for everybody else besides that guy working on the show. That's why I want to watch it.
I agree. My wife and I are a huge fan of the Sandman series. Like, I was a huge reader of that comic in high school and in college, seeing that series end. Then the Netflix series came out far better than I thought it was going to be. My wife, one of her favorite episodes of television of all time is from season 1 with the episode of The Cats, which she loves to pieces. And the fact that, once again, that series essentially is going to be done. And the fact that it got 2 seasons, I'll give it kudos. And I love the fact that those actors and actresses and creators all got to make their mark on it and should enjoy their success. And once again, you're exactly right. Personal life, everybody's got demons, and some people's their demons don't hurt other people, and some do. So
yeah, I understand people who don't want to watch this because of all that. I understand.
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter. That is a very complex. My son does not support the author because a lot of his friends are people that are impacted by her views. My wife and I are both fans of them, so we understand that. So we respect him, and we try to highlight the fact that there are people that have found good things and done good things because of these characters, that these characters are part of their life, and they're better for it, not because of the author. And this looks great. About
actually watching the trailer when it came out the other day, and I was like, that's the trailer, that's the show, and I feel like I'm just watching the show. And that sort of helped me decide, because I was like, forget about that guy. I don't want to think about it. And you could say that I'm lucky to be able to say that. And I understand that there are people who can't get past it. But it's also like, there are so many other people involved, and they don't deserve what happened.
I totally agree. And, this is someone's big chance, or this is someone, my cousin's a movie production designer and manager. And the fact that she could lose her livelihood because some idiot did something bad. And I mean, it's like, that's work for her that she would have on her resume that she could show. And the fact that would just get pushed away, and people would, it is a hard decision, but totally. If you choose not to watch, that's great. You can tell people why you don't want to, and maybe have them judge it there, but don't, boycotting certain things has unintended impacts, maybe, that we should probably consider. So, but I really love the series. I think it's great. Tennant and Michael Sheen, great actors. Oh, I love them to pieces. Yeah.
Yes. And just their characters too, but especially Michael Sheen as Aziraphale. I love that character so much.
Yes. It's so funny with Michael Sheen. He's played so many interesting roles, even roles that I'm like, did you really want to be in the movie? But he's going to be the best thing in the movie. It's like he was Underworld. He was in that the Lycan movie. He was great in that, and then he was in the Twilight films, which I'm like,
yep.
Dude, really? But he's like, hey, it's a paycheck, and I get to do the stuff I like. And I'm like, I'm going to give it my all. So salute Michael Sheen. He's great. Love him to pieces. Let's get into this. So this is under the category of music, books, and hobbies, because I try to make a potpourri section. So Andy, what's in your bag of potpourri that you're excited about?
Well, I had a lot of fun this week with recording a new episode for the podcast. So there's that.
So can you tell us what the subject was?
Legally Blonde, the musical.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm very excited about that. We're going to share, your podcast information, how people can watch. But if people wanted to watch the actual Legally Blonde musical, where could they watch it?
Also, it's on YouTube. because there was an MTV broadcast of Legally Blonde, the musical. And like I said, available on YouTube.
Yes, and if you find it, great. You didn't post it, so
no,
you don't have to worry about anything.
Nope. Nothing to do with me.
That's great.
But it's such a fun show. If you want some joy, just watch it.
I think Broadway HD often has a lot of them too, if you can get that service. And it's a subscription service, like $10 on Amazon. So you can find it there too. Cool. But yeah, if it's on YouTube, watch, enjoy. There's a lot of stuff that you want to watch, you can't, which really burns you. But yeah, I'll look forward to that. So yeah, I don't know anything. I mean, I watched the movie. It's been years, and it's one of my wife's favorites. So to see what they do, adapting something, they're like, I guess it could be a musical. I don't know why, but hey, cool. And it just takes one idea, like Mean Girls or other thing else, or even the TV show when they had a musical episode. It's like, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah. No, I really recommend it. And it's a solid show that people, don't give quite enough credit. So.
Well, I am excited to, once again, you talk about something, it goes up higher on my level of things Todd should watch. So I appreciate that. I always look for new things. So I will check out Legally Blonde, the podcast, the musical first, and then listen to the podcast to see what you guys thought about it.
Yes.
And I like hearing about like movie versus production and where it goes from there. So very cool. So just my grab bag, record store day was yesterday in the US. I'm not sure if there's also internationally other countries, but it's a lot of fun. Vinyl collecting has been becoming a problem with me because I have my vinyl and audio set up now, and I'm just really enjoying the hobby, finding unique takes on physical media. And record store date is really interesting this year because Bruno Mars is the ambassador. He's touring again, so we're seeing him in concert this year, May 13th, at US Bank Stadium, which should be a lot of fun. Big stadium. It's my son's favorite artist. And he had an album that was part of Record Store Day called Compilations, and it was him, or is it collab? No, it's collaborations. It's him with all of his like duets and all the music in there. I couldn't find it; it was sold out. And they have like typically every label will have so many albums they put out for this that are unique. They send them all to the record stores. And there's a fury of people to get these, and then they quickly go out of stock, and then they're very expensive. So I was hoping to find a couple of albums. One of those would have been the Bruno Mars album. One of those would have been also this small publisher called Materia Records. They do video game soundtracks. They had one for Undertale, and they also had one for Cyberpunk 2077. Both were sold out as well. So I really didn't do well, but I did get something very cool. So I'm a big fan of a band called Squirrel Nut Zippers. I saw them live a few years ago. They do like very much a mix of like, it's hard. Kind of, some people would say it's like a jitterbug. Then some people would say it's like ragtime. Some people would say it's ska-like. I don't know. It's a really cool music genre. A lot of banjos, a lot of horns and things, but they had an album they put out, kind of hard to see, but yeah, really, this is kind of neat. It's a reprint. It's a newly mixed from the original multi-tracks from their 1994 EP called Roasted Right. Yeah, just really cool. Vinyl's not cheap. It was $27, I believe. And great. I just had a great time. You just talk with people when you're in line, when you go through records. We talk about like, hey, what are you excited about? So I went to the one local store that's actually near my work. It's called Down in the Valley Records. I went there. I'd never been there before. So it was a great time to just check out the shop. They had a lot of cool stuff. And of course, because of pot being legalized in the United States and in Minnesota, they have a huge pot selection too. So it's like kill two birds with one stone. Why not? But the people were very cool, very helpful, very fun experience. It's kind of neat to see music bring people together. Which then leads me to my other one thing that I did. I went to Video Game Music Con. So this is a Minnesota specific con where it's all about the music of video games. And it was really exciting with my son being a musician and also being a future music educator. I bought him tickets. We showed up separately. We ran to each other a couple times, listening to some amazing bands. A lot of them are very like jazz fusion versions of video game songs. There was a beautiful quartet that played Legend of Zelda songs, and it was wonderful. Cool. They had people dressed they had furries playing in musical instruments, which was very interesting. I had a blast. And one of my favorite things to do is just talk to people that are there. And I got to meet several really amazing artists that I'll probably be talking to in the future on a podcast. But I talked to 2 music labels, which was kind of cool, that were there selling albums. And one is Materia Records. And I bought this. It's basically a Halloween compilation of spooky video game music. And they make it and they remix it and they have fun with it. So it was very cool. But they also put out the Cyberpunk and the Undertale records as well. So I was talking to the person there that was there for the label. We were talking about it. And they're really doing a lot of great things to get future performers and creators published. So she had some great guidelines of like how you do that. So it's kind of neat. So I may have her on to talk about that part of the industry. Then I talked to another label that does mixes of video game music. They put out compilations. They get people discovered again, put their stuff out for free on YouTube, but they also produce albums for sale. And the other cool thing I found was, let me see if I've got it. Hold on, one second. So I met someone who has created a Kickstarter for a game, and it's all about music. It's called the Truba Deck. So if you can see that.
There we go.
And it's cool. Oh, there we go. So the goal of this game is to teach people how to do music, either compose or write or sing. And it's in a game format, in a deck. And you learn how to do that. So I thought this could be a great musical education tool for learning music. So I will be talking to them as well. When I was talking to one person, he ends up having a cover band that he does called the MTVs. So through all of this experience, I've just had a great time mingling, talking to people, because you never know what you're going to find out and the connections you can have. So talked to one woman. She was there. She was probably in her 70s, and she was just there to play piano. And she discovered video game music later in her life, and she's just so excited about performing piano there. And she's, she was a music educator as well. And the vendors were awesome. One woman was making these really interesting bats you could adopt that were $200, but they're very cool looking. But it was amazing. So that's kind of my weekend in a nutshell. I just really had a great time doing a lot of stuff, staying busy. And today is kind of my day of rest, podcasting and just having fun. So that is my week, your week. So Andy, anything you're looking forward to this week in the world of news, entertainment, personal life?
Next week is going to be pretty normal for me, but on the 30th, I am going to see Bonnie and Clyde, the musical.
Once again, I did not know this existed.
There is this group where I live. Our town has a lot of like kids theater, and this group of like teens, and some of them I think might be like 18, 19, maybe 20. They still wanted to do that kind of stuff. So it's basically like a high school level production, but it's more community theater. And they're doing Bonnie and Clyde, and I love Bonnie and Clyde. So I'm going to go see that on the 30th with a friend of mine.
Well, apparently there's the website for Bonnie and Clyde the musical. I can find more about it. I guess it debuted in 2009. Original Broadway version 2011. So
yeah, and I think they had like 30 performances or something crazy. It's absolutely bananas how quickly that got shut down, because it's a good show.
Well,
Frank Wildhorn did the music.
Well, hopefully I can find a way to watch this too. But it looks like there's clips out there at least to see some of the songs.
There is actually it's a concert almost a fully staged production that they filmed from London a couple of years ago, and I think you can
Okay.
buy a ticket to that digitally on their website. So there is a
Great.
way to watch it.
Oh, very cool. So Bonnie and Clyde, the musical, once again, a new thing on my radar that is not new, but you're getting a new presentation of it with young artists. So that's amazing. And yeah, I love the fact that we can get these things back in people's radar so they can watch it and learn. And maybe it's going to be your future greatest musical in the world. So we'll see. For myself, really quick. So every year I've been doing something called the Summer Movie Wager. This is the first year that I'm doing it with the Fandom Foundry members, and it's a very fun game. I found this because a website and a team called the Totally Rad Show used to do this, which is just a fun competition about how the summer movie will perform based on their box office, and you rank them. And then based on that, how accurate you are, you could win the game. So we're playing this. If anybody's interested in joining us, let us know. I've got a Google Drive ready to go, can add you on. There's no entry fee, but the winner gets to pick a movie for the loser to watch. And that could be a painful experience. And you also have to kind of do like a book report on the movie, so to make sure you actually did it. So like I said, no payment. Nothing, but you may get forced to watch something that might not be enjoyable. So that is happening. As of right now, we're asking for people to get their submissions in by the 22nd, and then I'll be doing the next week's version of this podcast will be all about the summer movie. What's happening, movies that are people excited about, and then kind of debuting our picks for what we picked, and then we'll follow that the whole summer. And then after Labor Day in the US, which would be like September 3rd, then we'll be awarding the winners. So if anybody is interested, let me know, DM me on our socials, and we'll get into that in a second. But with that, we have...
I should mention something happening next week.
Oh, yeah, and absolutely. Is this specific to your podcast, or is this just anything?
Yes, it is the podcast, perfect. Because next week I'll be releasing the episode we did together, actually, on cats.
Oh, fantastic. And so let's just do that now. So Andy, for anybody that wants to get in touch with you or follow all the cool things you're doing, where should they follow you around the interwebs? I'm
on BlueSky, Andy94, and there you'll find me posting about the podcast, doing my Star Trek 60 list, as I'm calling it, celebrating the 60th anniversary of Star Trek by choosing 60 episodes. There are a couple of movies in there too. So different stuff like that. And there she is. Please follow her. Watch her stuff. There's all this information on how to get her podcast on the Patreon. I've done a couple episodes with you, and there we go. That's what we're going to be talking about, folks. That's Holy my little tease for next week. Do not be afraid of these furry friends. They are I think you'll enjoy it, and don't confuse what we're going to talk about with the movie with Taylor Swift and CGI cat anatomy. We are doing the pro shot because we like a pro shot. Yes, and you can watch that on, I believe it's probably several places, but I watched it on Broadway HD. So you can get a trial there if you want to watch it there. So very cool, Andy. It's been a great talking with yours. I'm glad you could join me because I love to hear your thoughts on the world because, you come from a different place where you have different influences. We know you have a different style of taco, which sounds very delicious. But, we have some universal mutual love. So very cool. Well, once again, you can follow me at Todd Oxtra, at T Oxtra on BlueSky and Instagram. But more importantly, the Fandom Foundry at the Fandom Foundry on BlueSky and Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We have a website, we have a Discord, and we're on YouTube as you're watching this. If you're listening to us, we have a network feed where you can get all of our shows, and got some exciting things coming in the way of more MakerCasts. We have more things coming with Why We Play, and then an exciting relaunch of our sports network run by Sean Nias. So that is it for us, folks. I hope you had a good time. Andy, thank you so much for sharing your best things this week. And Andy, I hope your next week is even better than this. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. Bye. Bye.